I was just thinking, in this world, which is my world, me being black, Filipino, and Native American, Cherokee, Negro, Indian, there is nowhere for me to hide, although I don't want to hide. The Bible wrote it up for me not to be happy. I can repeat those Revelations 22:13 and 22:6 all day long. But then it would just be, well, there's a first time for everything else. Whatever we can do to you. And you know why some women hurt themselves. But most of the time, really, it's not them hurting themselves. The rest of the community already knows. Those people that usually go and do the research on it are either their family members or ones that aren't the family members that can't hear. And what I mean by hear is they can't hear what's going on in the spiritual sense. So we'll never know. They don't know the higher power and knowledge, and clarity means the visions with your eyes wide open. And believe me, when I say with your eyes wide open, I mean you actually can see like you're looking out your eyes normally. But then there's like another, it's like a screen within a screen in your eyes, where you see images with your eyes wide open during daylight or even at night. Some of them are true images or images that people can pull up with their spirits that you see. Or with your eyes closed. And when you close your eyes, you can tell the difference between clarity, when it looks like you're looking at TV, it's just plain in color and you know those. Excuse me, and you know those people, or where you just have like cartoon. Damn it. Excuse me, I can't sneeze normally. They cut into my nasal passage when they were doing oral surgery when I was 18. They were supposed to be taking my wisdom teeth out over here. How the hell you get up here? So you know that was done deliberately. So when I sneeze, it sounds like a cough sometimes. I have to break it down. I was asleep though when they did that, so please believe me. If I'd have known better back then, I probably would have been like, no, just numb me and pull my wisdom teeth out. Well, actually, they would just cut into my gums and suck them out because they hadn't formed yet. They were still like jelly, they said. I guess they figured pulling my wisdom teeth out was still not going to make me wise. It, I can say, worked for a majority of the part. I still got my wisdom. But I'm not one that's going to advertise it and get a beer and say Budweiser because they're wise, because they know they have those images or hearing. But there's a difference. There's levels to it, depending on how strong you are. I think it has to do with how many people you're connected to with spiritually and physically. more physically first and spiritually. But as long as you have some kind of peace and harmony in there, I think it gets stronger that way. Damn. Okay. Oh yeah. So anyways, the wisdom teeth. It slowed me down from being wiser. I believe. I could be wrong. They took them out when I was 18. I didn't start hearing until pretty much 2 years. Well, yes, 2012. So 2010. So I was 36 then. But on the casino tables, damn, just dropped one. I passed the roulette table, so there's no more Russian roulette for me. I played that one when I was 16. Actually, I didn't play it. I didn't have a choice. Jerry put a gun up to my head and pulled the trigger. It was one of those revolver things. He had spun it. There's only one empty space. That happened to be for me. My head hurts. Physically, I don't hurt. I am starting to have slight bleeding. My cycle is early. I couldn't tell you for sure if I was pregnant by the ultrasound. One, because I'm not an ultrasound technician. I did not study that. Although I was looking at it, we did one vaginally and we did one topically. You know, because I had to go see what's going on in both areas. Although I would have rather had either like the 3D, which they don't want to do that because that's like in live and living color, which means I'd be able to get everything that I wanted, so they had to do it in 2D. Or the cameras, the surgical cameras. That's what I'd rather have had. Go up there and look instead of having ultrasound machine up there to see the coloration, what damage was done at that point in time, see what's going on in a better light. And even if possible, making a slight incision above my abdomen, going through my bag, which I got a lot of, and putting the camera down there to make sure that right there by my cervix and the pelvis area by there, that gangrene hadn't set in on the inside there. I mean, I soaked in bleach water and for 4 hours. I had to keep warming the water up. Now, I know this sounds gross, but you know what? I don't care. Due to the fact I was sitting in bleach water anyways, I have a cup of bleach, 1 cup of Epsom salt, and a full tub of water, which I have the small tub, so it's like 1/4 to maybe a half of a clawfoot tub. I felt after, because I had to pretty much, I want to say at least about every hour to an hour and a half, because I stayed in there for 4 hours, change the water out to let it get warm. But during that time, what I kept doing was letting the water absorb. And as it absorbed, because I know I didn't drink that much liquid that day, I pissed in the tub. And I kept pissing, and I kept pissing, and I kept pissing, until Like 20 minutes passed by and I realized I wasn't pissing anymore. Then I go, okay, I change water. And I put more Epsom salt in there, same amount, and more bleach in there. And do the same thing. But of course, after that episode was over with, for those 4 hours, then the next day I was soaking in water. I would soak in the water first, then get in the shower. I stayed there for about an hour. And still doing that, because pretty much that's a lot of bleach. I also trying to, because I was in that nasty pool water from Susan Phil's pool, and then I jumped to my uncle Jerome's pool. That's why I started the Epsom salt bleach water bath, because his pool was dirty too. But my kids were in there. The oldest one, see, they keep pulling me by my kids for me to have to find out. My mom, she does it to herself. And my auntie was in there too, along with some of the other kids, where I think her grandson and her step-grandson, they jumped in. It had leaves in there and the water didn't look all that great, but I know it wasn't like Susan and Phil's pool. He said he ain't changed that water in years. That looked like that was only there for 1 year. But they had an above-ground pool, and it didn't have a heater to it. And the skimmers didn't work, or the filters did not work all that great. And plus the water was cool. So it's still considered stagnant water. But what I realized while I was sitting in that tub with the bleach and the Epsom salt, the half a cup of bleach and a cup of Epsom salt, that I actually start to feel it attacking what was going on in my body, down in my abdomen, pelvic area. Because while I was in jail and in prison, I had a yellow discharge. Now that yellow discharge started while after the fact that my son's head was busted open. So before I gave birth, I was having a yellow discharge. I was having to use pads at the prison because I was already at, I started using the pads while I was at Hardin County Hardin County Detention Center, then going to, Pee Wee Valley from October the 7th to October the 25th, 2011. I gave birth on October the 20th. My daughter and son would have been born on October the 16th, which means I played the Bible right. And this time I made that claim. And my grandma died on the 16th of January. So she was 0116 for her death. I was 1016 for their births, and it was 2 of them. That would have set me free from all those so-called kings. But somebody now was able to claim it on the other side in the church, because I don't have a man. And I don't have anybody that loves me. I have a lot of people that loathe me, that just wanted to be around me to say I was their night and not their day or a season. So they hand me a seasoning that I can sprinkle on my food. And that seasoning would slap your mama. Okay, but that was from a Baptist. Do you know what my mama's going through? Because apparently you know what I'm going through, and I'm Catholic, and so is she. So if you know what we're going through, why would you even say something like that? Why not help? Especially when we're the same color and we were trying to help each other. That's what the whole movement was about, growth. So we moved to the Catholic Church to help learn the knowledge that we needed, although we knew some people were getting tortured to get that knowledge. You all make it worse for us to want to live and still be able to look at the rest of our families that might be Baptists and say, I'm proud that we were able to help you and to grow. Period. Slavery still exists to this day, biblically. But the true slavery, as far as I know, it still exists. It may not be out in the cotton fields. I'd be lying if I said it doesn't exist. It does. It may not be like in the Senate bill where they're actually doing like construction work or farming, things like that. But in the legislative bill, it does. It does. I wanted to do something greater and better. I feel like I'm about to hyperventilate again. But instead, because I hung around people for short periods of time, not extended periods, like you think. I went around them all the time. They started having people call themselves me. Oh, I'm so-and-so, I'm so-and-so. You know why? Because they needed that approval of me being there. So that way they can get stuff done. I made people's stripper parties better. Swear to God. What? Tiffany Mitchell's gonna be out there stripping. I stripped 3 months in a club outside of Fort Campbell. I stripped a month and a half in Louisville, outside across from the Federal Building off of Broadway, which used to be called FAT, on the corner of 7th and Broadway, for a month and a half. Why do people just keep assuming that that's all I ever did? Oh, that's right, because they didn't get to know me, and I try to tell them what I used to do. I think they assumed I was a liar. Oh, I'm like, really? They're so narrow-minded, closed-minded, and they listen to pimps that need them, and drug dealers or pushers, as they call them, that need them, that they try to make them seem like they need them. You see what I'm saying? They try to make the girls seem like the girls need them by breaking them down. When the girls are stronger, they leave and go into the military, get another education, or even school. But when they go to school, they still go back to that. At least the military gives them an education, and away from that, to be able to get that knowledge to grow and learn. But once they hit the economy and they go out to the clubs or whatever, and they filter back down to what they're not used to, or excuse me, what they're used to, what they were raised like, that comes back up into the military. I'm not saying we were raised rich, because we damn sure wasn't. My grandma had her garden. We went fishing for our food. My grandma boiled it, or she fried it. And believe me, she didn't burn it, but she made sure that it was cooked all the way, where we didn't eat parasites or anything like that. But I just wanted to make a healthier product, period, for it to be in their body. We were raised differently than city people. And yes, Radcliffe is definitely called a city, but how many city folks you know that just got chickens in their yard and hens and roosters and little baby We call them damn things. Chicks. Well, we call them chickens. And babies. We mainly call the doggone newborn chicks our pets because we got to watch them grow. And we hated when they got on the plate. Especially when you could tell the difference between store-bought and home-raised. It's sometimes a little bit more feathers in the home-raised than the store-bought. Because Grandma was busy pulling it. She didn't want us pulling the feathers out. She did it herself. My grandma's Filipino. So that's what she was used to. But she kept us healthy. We weren't sickly kids. That's for sure. Now, we may have sat out in the sun all day and I got, swear to God, my middle daughter right there, because all of those right there are my daughters, besides the younger one that I was talking about. But my middle one, I was as dark as her during the summertime, every summer when I was little, because we would sit out in the sun from pretty much 6 in the morning till 5 in the evening when my grandpa got out of work and came down. He'd have to go from Fort Knox to Elizabethtown to Freeman Lake. Sometimes we see water moccasins out there. Somebody had some piranha out there at one time. Like this crazy mother. I don't know if they're still out there. I would assume that they are. Because, I mean, once they're in there, they're in there. I'm thinking about it going to jump in there and be like, hey, we're getting them out. Unless they fished them all out, but who knows. Just, I just don't know. Yeah, damn sure. I mean, I went fishing at a pay lake before. I think was it in Irvington, or it was close to Irvington. I think it was in Irvington though, with my cousin. Went there and paid a couple of dollars. We're Indians. And drank a couple of beers and was fishing. So. So, I always wanted my own land to be able to have at least a nice sized like pond out there. I don't know if I'd actually eat the stuff out the pond. But just more like sporting purposes, sit down and talk and relax or whatever. And a trail to be able to go mudding on. And mudding means that I would have made, if I had my Buick that they stole, I don't know what the hell they did with it, a big wheel monster. I don't really want to call it a monster. I just big wheels. How about that? Big wheels. Not a monster. I don't want flames anymore. Fuck that shit. I'm not trying to open up the gates to hell. No more. And I'm not the gatekeeper, so I'm trying to be like a fireman and extinguish all fires, please. Oh gosh, by iodine, Epsom salt, bleach water, freaking amoxicillin, doxycycline, lamisil, terbinafine, and even trying to heal my face with some damn Tazerac. And these motherfuckers want to look at me like, this bitch crazy. No, motherfucker, I want to look good too and be healthy. Can I have my health? It's supposed to be my healthy vet, not my fucked up vet. But you know what? That's what the sad part is. A certain group of people moved from a certain state, and they wanted to know the answers to what the problems were in their city. So when they did, they just started attacking me with all the shit that they had, that they knew of. so they can get the answers. How are they going to get the answers if they're not sitting down and talking to me? Wait, is that why my house is getting broken into so they can find out what medicines I'm on? So I'll put the answers up for them. Is that why, and the sad thing is, you actually have to look at the people that are talking to you and look around you, because they're telling you to your face what they're doing to you. But it may not be specifically you, but it was for me. But in the bigger scheme of things, each and every one of us has somebody else who's watching us, or somebodies that are watching us. Process of elimination. Just keep looking out for when you realize that stuff comes around and you may be the oddball on it. Let's say somebody gets a complete package. I had to show an example up there to the White House. So I sent several packets, that is, of my new veteran and military pay chart that needs to be done. But in there, I folded a piece of paper for it to fall out. So it'd be like loose leaf. That's how they do that, to pick on a person. Sometimes it might be set that way, or sometimes it's not. But I think somebody stacks it that with me. But when it goes to other people, it just happens. It's supposed to be random. But with me, even if it is random, I don't think I swear to God, it's like not random. Like the spirit world's like, oh no. That motherfucker. So, I'm like, I said all I had to say. The images I wanted to create for a statue, if I had to do one, I'd do one in pewter and one in copper, because it's true. Pewter is like, you-wee, patootie woman. Yeah, well, I was playing the role of patootie woman for a while too. 3.5 months of sitting there burning with shit in my vagina. That's nasty. Waiting for that motherfucker to come back, thinking he was gonna apologize, say sorry or something. No! Smell like, ugh, nasty fish. I ain't even trying to shove anything up in there. I tortured my mom's whole house. That wasn't funny. And I went on drugs like that. I was just embarrassed. But then a couple of years later, I'm going on Fort Knox, and I'm like, damn, motherfuckers in the office like that. I hope I didn't start that shit. I hope that wasn't my chain. Because if it is, that just told on theirs, because I didn't know who was circling me. I'm like, good googly moogly. And that wasn't anything secret. That was like, my daughter said, Mama, it's like fish in here. And that woman was like 20 feet away from us. That's how bad that was. Within 3 days, you will notice a smell from a woman if they've been burned by shit. And it smells like tuna, and it's bad already. So just imagine what 3.5 months smells like. Oh man. That's why I had to change the map on that. So I wrote it down. I wanted the map to change where it went from continuous on the roads, highways, streets, seriously, from being continuous yellow to where it was dashes of yellow, because that means there's somebody holding that on purpose. And believe me, just like you see the movies, there are people that are probably so old it's not even funny, because you got people, they try to break it down and say, okay, to 7 days in God's world is like 200 and some years or something like that. I can't exactly remember what the numbers are. There's a little book that I had. I'm like, really? They try to play you like that. But you got to think about the fact that they actually put people away. They have so much money, it's not funny that they just change out parts. And that's exactly why I say they don't need the organ donor thing on their driver's license. I don't think that should be on there. Because there are other people waiting for that. They're just exchanging parts that they've already damaged. And then once they get that part, that's when they start trying to heal their bodies. But until then, they mildly give them low dosages of antibiotics just to kind of keep it down. Once they're able to change out parts, then they start healing them. But they move away, go somewhere else. And of course, you know how the military does, they move every 3 years. And what does skin tightener do? It makes you look younger. Epsom salt kind of preserves you a little. Euthanasia. I look young. I mean, I took Epsom salt baths, not on a regular basis, but sometimes. I started young. When I was, I'm going to say 19, 20. So yeah. Damn, for real though. You know, I'm like, I just got like a weird feeling like somebody like that on my food. Alright. But they're, oh yeah. Before I forget, Ice-T played Tune In Tokyo with me. Tune In Tokyo. I felt his spiritual connection. He felt mine. Because it reminds me so much of Johnny's dad. I couldn't help it. I really couldn't. I was mad about it though. But I tried to, like, because I was in jail at the time. Mentally I had the vision of it. But physically I felt it. And then I had the image of him driving and he was just like confused about it. Because he felt that too. That's why. We feel each other, but if the circle's complete, it's a sad thing. Because if it is, and I'm by myself, there's no one for me. And as they say, they could kill off the whole family with that because we're in tune to each other. And some people were always trying to find out how many they could kill at one time. That's why some people don't like to be spiritually connected. Because as they consider people the heart, depending on, it may be from, it may not be your friend that you really are connected with, but the spiritual love through them from somebody else, if they are feeling a spiritual love with you about what you're doing and their happiness and they're content with that, being happy, and you're happy with being happy. Sometimes they feel that too. And they go. That's why men start becoming such assholes, literally. No, I don't want to say literally, physically being assholes. Instead of just going, you asshole, and you call them an asshole, but you really don't know you're cursing at them, but they aren't an asshole. They may be a straight guy at that time. But literally, assholes are just ones that get fucked in the ass. Not literally, seriously, physically. Get fucked in the ass. The other ones are cocksuckers, and when they call them cocksuckers, they really mean it. They're just fucking cocks. Those are your heads. And motherfuckers, well, you know, those are the ones that are always fucking either their mother or somebody else's mother. And they fuck them up. Son of a bitches, well, they may be screwing their moms too, and and they're just their son too. But those are the ones that are supposed to, at least if they're going to do that biblically, it's supposed to be after their father passes away. But when they start doing it when they're alive, that's when their fathers just leave, and they usually end up getting divorced because they're embedded with them, as they call it. So they're like, well, he's now your man. I can go, you know. Or some of them plant seeds and just tell them to do it biblically. Some of them can't wait, so they start early. And they train them that way. Me, I wasn't going to train my son that way. I'm going to whoop his little ass. Damn, you like your daddy. Be a perfect gentleman, I'm still tear his ass up. Settle down, marry one person. Have a relationship, do something I didn't do. I didn't get a chance to teach my daughters what I didn't want them to go through. I did when they were little, when we lived in Virginia, but I got back here and it's totally different. I got my kids stay clean, they look nice, they were happy. They talk to me every now and then. They get mad at me. I'm going to my room. Stomping up the stairs. And I just look at them and laugh. They're like, okay, well, I'm cleaning up down here. Because always they would get mad when to watch cartoons or something while I was trying to clean up. But they always wanted to run around and grab stuff and move stuff. And I'm like, just stay still for like 10, 15 minutes. Because they had their own room where they shared a room. And then they had their playroom. Because it was a 3-bedroom. It was actually bigger than this place. And if it wasn't, it damn sure seemed like it was. To me, it did. Well, the kitchen was bigger, put it that way. Definitely bigger. And I like the fact that the kitchen was bigger than this place. I'm just tired of not having friends. But again, like, with the friends I've had so far and family, why do I need them? They've been making me sick. And I have a headache. I don't feel like I even want to live this way. I don't feel like this. I don't feel like her anymore. I miss me doing this. I was much happier. And that's exactly why I want the medical health spa salon. There's going to be a helicopter pad out there, a hanger out there, so that way I can still interact with the helicopter crew, still check on the equipment and stuff, go flying if I wanted to from place to place, and even help out with emergency purposes if needed with the crew. Everyone I loved, I really loved. I had to, at this point now, I don't have any more love left. I don't have any to give. And I don't feel like I love myself anymore. I hate the choice that I made of coming back. I'm not saying my life would have been great. I damn sure think it would have been better. I should have done something like staying in contact with some of my male friends out there that had some businesses. Instead of hanging around these knuckleheads that weren't doing anything, sorry to say. It was good work that I was able to do for the government. But when there's not a payday behind it, it's worthless. It's useless. It's just good information and knowledge for them to tear down and say, you don't need that. But you know what? I realize all those motherfuckers that are saying that shit are the bitches that got degrees, whether male or female, aren't the soldiers. I don't care anymore if the government comes down or they downsize the army until there's no more. That's Air Force, Marines, Navy, National Guard, all of that. Homeland Security. You know why? Because they did that to the military too long. Especially to a lot of traditional families. Were underappreciated. A lot. But to them, when you say a lot, they go, oh, but there's a trailer, and you can sell your drugs out of that. That's lot for you in the Bible. Or that's in the Senate bill. The legislative bill, but we got a lot. Those are where they try to keep the girls. And then some of them try to combine. That's when they start just calling them nickel, dime, 20 bags, dubs, bags, 50s, ounces, whatever. Maybe selling a little bit, but they're mainly just trying to get control. Some of them keep trying until they do. Some of them just get their feet. or whatever it is they're pushing. They don't get in trouble till somebody that they don't really know that comes around and starts talking about them. That's your Bible work for you. How proud of that do you feel? And they rather do that instead of trying to create the jobs to help the economy out, the people out, the community out, the churches. And again, I don't know if I'd want to put 10% of my pay in the church, because they're trying to say they're higher than the government, which is 9%. And then on top of that, most of the time when they get a big amount of money in there, or they saved up a big amount of money, then somebody's transitioning out real quick. And you find out they have a lot more money and they look like so-and-so. They don't let their hair grow out, they gained some weight, or they lost some weight, they cut the hair off, and the name changed. They're the same person. They're always just getting got. So why join somebody else's church and just stick with your family's church? Uplift your family and build your family up. Stop letting other people from other states take head of your church. Get yourself involved in the community.